Hello, everybody. Welcome to Breaking the Grade Live. My co host, my colleague, my running mate over the last couple of weeks, John Gamba, literally running because we were running in New York City, is getting his camera right. It's all good. He's even typing to me in the private chat, so we'll see what happens here. But I'm going to get started. Um, Today's show is all about one word: guarantee. And this topic has been very popular over the last couple of months and certainly weeks. It actually came out of a conversation that I had with somebody, Kareem Cooperhouse, at IEI, where Kareem joined the event, and Kareem had himself a guarantee. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. This guy is really putting his money where his mouth is, and his company's money where his mouth is when it comes to a guarantee. And I think, and Kareem thinks, and we're going to get John's perspective on this, if he thinks also guarantees are the future. So Ken, John says he's backstage. I don't think his camera's working, but a John Gamba no camera is better than a John Gamba no John Gamba. So what I see right now, John, and I'm really missing your face, I'm missing that hair, is I just see a big black square. And then he goes, now he's gone again. Now he's back again. And there's his face. I saw his face, and then now I don't. And now I don't. But I did for a second see your face there, John. I thought you got a new computer.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So what's
Wish I
up, John? How are you?
Usually I keep trying and I get in. I'm also hearing an
That's what she said.
My apologies. I'm going to try one more.
Okay, here we go. John's going to try again to join us with camera because it's so important. It's so helpful. But today, again, we're talking about guarantees. So I went and had a conversation with Kareem Cooperhouse. Many of you know Kareem. He's a former teacher. He's a founder of 3 tutoring centers, 32 satellite programs. He's the CEO of Higher Sales, and he works with education companies. And we started talking about guarantees. And this show that we recorded is called The Guarantee Shift, a playbook that's reshaping how schools and districts and universities decide who to partner with. And when you have a guarantee, they are more than likely to really believe in your product. And if you've ever, kind of had a stalled deal, and we all have, and they say to you, let us think about it, the guarantee is a way to reset the conversation and to gain confidence. So today, we're going to talk about why pilots can build trust faster than promises. We're going to talk about why guarantees can work as filters. We're going to talk about why they're good as filters and they're not just sales tools. We're going to talk about why demos still do not impress. And we're going to talk about the mindset shift, that's not easy to say, that founders miss, that guarantees aren't desperation. And I had to make this shift. Guarantees are not desperation, they're conviction. Guarantees are not desperation, they are conviction. And when we can get my co-host, my colleague, my running mate, John Gamba in the room here, I'm gonna ask him that. So, by the way, last week, well, 2 weeks ago, I saw John because we went to the Benson Boone concert, took our daughter, Camila, to the Benson Boone concert and got to hang out with John, got to hang out up in Philadelphia, went to University of Pennsylvania's Graduate School of Education. John gave us the tour of Pennsylvania, University of Pennsylvania, not the whole state. And then last week I saw John at the Milken finals. We got to have a very nice reception. We got to go down to Freedom Tower at there's John banging away at the computer. We can hear you. And
You can hear my
we got
camera.
yeah, we can hear your frustration banging away there. And we John and I got to go down to the Freedom Tower, although we almost didn't make it because our cab driver didn't know where the Freedom Tower was. Luckily, he got to deal with two of the most patient people in the world, and we explained to him where the Freedom Tower was. And we went down there, and we were there right at the time that the first plane hit the first tower, and John and I really sat there for a long time with a lot of different people. And so this is week 3 of seeing John, although I'm not seeing him, but that's okay. We're going to get to hear him. John, how you doing? Other than
Doing great.
frustrated?
How you doing, Josh?
Yeah. Where are you?
I'm in Philly. I'm in North Philly. Beautiful day here.
Yeah.
No humidity. Beautiful out. Yeah, we're into post-milking phase here.
Yeah. What's that like for you?
Just to try to take a lot of rest, try to recharge, try to think about what we can do to improve the programming here at Catalyst at Penn GSE. But all good.
What did you give us your quick understanding of what does John Gamba see from the 2025 Milken competition? Some really great, and maybe some ways that you might even be able to improve upon what's great.
Well, it started with the applications, which were a record, and the outreach we did to several of our partner forums, from EdTech Insiders to GSV to Etch and the great Matt Tower at Whiteboard Advisors, the Ed Sheet.
The Ed Sales Elevation Experience.
Yeah, it was, the incredible sponsors that we have. You included, Josh, obviously. And that's really intentional. For a while, we did not have sponsors as judges, and we now have sponsor judges, which is incredible. And your questions were fantastic. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
The Audience Choice Award that you sponsored obviously came out incredible with Jody Anderson from Resume. And I think the continuum of programming is really a difference maker for the competition. It starts with a lot of planning in January, and then it moves toward the semifinalist phase in March, April. A lot of Ask Me Anythings and community building with the semifinalists down to the finalists, and then ultimately the pitches on stage at the great Holland IQ Back to School Summit. Thought the room was great. Thought the ambiance was great. Thought that the energy was awesome. But always room for improvement. How do we, think intentionally about the rubric for judging? What can we do to, always just improve the operation and the flow, the logistics, the coordination? But overall, it was great. And thank you again for your partnership and sponsorship of the program.
Totally. Yeah, that room was, it felt like we were in Madison Square Garden, and it was so phenomenal. The screens and the energy and the sound. So I don't think there's room for improvement there, because that room just brought it. So whoever chose that, fantastic. Today, one of the things we're talking about here is one word: guarantees. And as I was talking to our cohort number 12 today in our coaching session, I don't know if this is something that you and I have really discussed in depth, which is this idea of guarantees. This came out of a conversation with Kareem Cooperhouse, which I was hoping he was going to be able to join us today, because you two amazing people haven't met, but he's actually in Europe, so he wasn't able to join today. And so all good though, because you're here. So why don't you talk to us about what you think about guarantees? And I just want to leave you with one thing before I hand the mic over. One of the takeaways that I want people to have from this show is that guarantees are not desperation. Guarantees are conviction that your solution works. And that's a mindset shift. I'll hand the mic to you on guarantees.
Yeah, I mean, we've had conversations about positioning often on this show, starting with the solution, starting with the problem, ending with the solution. We talk a lot about AI. This isn't something where your clients, my mentees, our ecosystem of solution providers need to go into conversations saying we are an AI tool or a platform. It needs to be about we are solving the problem of literacy, MTSS, intervention for students with disabilities, mental health support, and all the critical or seminal issues we're facing in worldwide education. And that is supported through an AI-powered application. And I think great solutions, that's enough. If you can really convey a problem and demonstrate a solution, I used to say, and I've shared it on the show, features tell, benefits sell. But I am starting to move into this mindset of features tell, benefits sell, guarantees close. Uh, this has really been something that the good folks at Literacy Tree, Adam and Stephanie, have been drilling into me. Nothing, in my opinion, is more important than addressing the literacy crisis that we have in this country. 70% of our K-12 students can't read at grade level, 70% across the country. That is an absolute tragedy and crisis. They have a solution, a high dosage intensive tutoring solution that is both intervention and instructional, bound by the science of reading, that guarantees literacy gap remediation in 12 weeks or less, or your money back. And so I've always been leery about, opening your jacket pocket with a pocket full of watches and snake oil selling education solutions. It's all in your positioning. I don't want it to feel like an infomercial, but Adam and Stephanie have been very intentional about don't buy us unless you're confident it'll work. And when you take that leap, if we don't, we'll guarantee to fix it or your money back. And I think it's really important to position it that way. And I think they've had a lot of success in doing that.
And they're fantastic people. So that helps too, truly. And I'm not joking about that. So I also have a guarantee in the Ed Sales Elevation experience. And, this conversation that we're having now and the one I had with Kareem are helping me to understand why I was hesitant early on to even say that I had a guarantee, not because I didn't believe in what I was doing, but because it did feel like snake oil. And I always position it this way: is I would tell people, I have this guarantee from the Ed Sales Elevation experience that if you put the work in, the course will work. I will put my work in, and we will get you 3 of your highest converting, highest quality clients to come to speak to you. That's my guarantee. And I'm happy to make a guarantee because I wasn't able to make one in my first company, the tutoring company, because I never knew what the students were doing when we weren't around. And I wasn't able to make it my second company because if the PTAs didn't put in the work, we couldn't raise the money. But in this one, I can. And I will continue to work with you as long as you're putting in the work to get this thing right. So it is about positioning with a guarantee.
I also think that the buyer matters, right? If you're selling, not to bag on them, but Flex Seal at 1 a.m. on an infomercial, right? Someone buys it and they just feel like that it didn't work for them. and they send it back and they get their money back. That's one thing. But the buyers of somebody who are purchasing literacy solutions aren't messing around, right? They too are bound by a crisis and an intentionality for the students and the community they serve. It's not like they're going to be like, yeah, I'll try it and I'll just say that I wasn't satisfied and I'll get their money back. I think Adam and Stephanie from Literacy Tree are very good about saying, this is what we're going to do. This is how it's been successful with other colleague districts and other teachers. This is what's going to happen when we leave after 12, 16 weeks. And you can inherit this solution and build upon it. And if it's just not working, we don't expect you to pay for it. And I think that's a real intentional, consultative, intelligent way to sell the solution, differentiated way to sell the solution.
We also need in a guarantee, we want the person on the other end, the buyer, to feel comfortable, to not resist the guarantee, and to embrace the guarantee, to your point, because if they embrace it, then they believe in you and they believe in what you can do. And to me, that begins to create this idea of the perfect client. I don't talk about the ideal client. I talk about the perfect client, which to me is a frictionless relationship that they want to buy from you as much as you want to sell something to them. And that's a great place to start a relationship, especially one as important as, say, solving literacy inside of a school district or inside of a school. And so that's really important as well. Have you ever in your career leveraged, used a guarantee?
I haven't, and I've been part of and have gotten behind a lot of companies. Literacy Tree is really the first one to do it for the reasons that we've laid out. Sometimes it could be perceived as snake oil. Sometimes, and again, I think it's all in the positioning. I think it's all in the messaging. Literacy Tree, just as one example, they don't lead with the guarantee. They lead with the features and the benefits. They lead with the credibility. They lead with the science of reading. They lead with the success stories and testimonials of parents and students that they've successfully supported and served. And it's all their solution is almost too good to be true. And I think the guarantee at the end comes across with them having a straight face and saying, "We're serious. This works."
Right. Yeah. I like the positioning there at the end. Position the guarantee at the end. And again, I'm reflecting on my own experience in the Ed Sales Elevation experience, and I bring the guarantee up at the end. Again, I have had to get more comfortable with this idea of the guarantee myself because it does feel salesy. Kareem Cooperhouse, who again I'm interested in having you get to meet at some point, has this 3-part framework for guarantees, and I'd like to run it by you here. First of all, first is outcome. What specific result will the buyer get? For K-12, for example, student growth. For higher ed, enrollment or retention. Number 2 of the 3-part framework, timeline. By when will they see this outcome? And then number 3, safeguard. What happens if it doesn't land? So again, the 3-part framework. Number 1, outcome. Number 2, timeline. Number 3, safeguard. And the real takeaway here is that guarantees with all 3 parts work. Missing one makes your promise a little bit fragile. So what do you think about the 3-part framework, outcome, timeline, and safeguard?
I think it all comes down to clarity and messaging. I think each one of those are really, really smart. And I think each one of those have to be articulated carefully in order for it to land.
What about this idea that pilots build trust faster than promises? Where do you come out on this when it comes to pilots in general? And this is something I've been talking to a lot of our clients about. Pilots, are they free? Do you charge something? How do you look at
I look at
pilots?
pilots as being chunking of relationships. I look at pilots as never being free. I look at pilots as being for something this transformative, for something that's this unique and differentiated. I don't, me being the solution provider, expect you to make a large commitment right away. I also don't want to necessarily take the time that would be required for you to make a larger than expected commitment, like in the case of a medium to large school district, a full district implementation, which will require or necessitate RFPs, RFQs, single sole source letters, and we can go through all of those. Sometimes when a superintendent, a buyer, a principal sees something that they like, it becomes easier for them to spend a little bit less, ensure the results are there, and then grow accordingly.
I'm going to go a little bit deeper and see if there's a formula here on this. I was talking to one of our mutual acquaintances, Kit, who was actually at the finals last week, and we were talking about pilots and how you price them. So, in terms of pricing a pilot, do you use your gut? Do you have a formula? Do you do it based on the number of kids, whatever they're going to take? How do you price a pilot?
No gut, no formula, but a framework. Typically, pricing, and Kit's got a very good solution in the math tutoring, math consultancy space, and thinking about moving it to AI and being more technically driven. So kudos and hats off to Kit Wong. She's awesome.
Yeah. Working hard.
Working hard and very intentional as a mother and as somebody who just, there's a big why behind what she's doing. So I can't say enough about Kit. Typically, for a instructional based solution that blends or kind of rides the line between core curriculum, math, STEM, and supplemental, which these lines are being blurred, and a full school, one school implementation, I think a framework of between $2,000 and $3,000 is a good framework to use when you're dealing with a technology or an ed tech product. I think that goes up when you have higher labor costs like tutors, and it could go down if you're more in the supplemental range and not core curriculum. That usually translates to $5 to $15 per student. I also think that the tiered model works pretty well. $2,500 per school. If you want to do 3 school pilot, $7,500. If you want to go more than 10 schools, we break that down to $2,000 per school, thereby giving you the opportunity to say, all right, we'll do a 10 school pilot for 20 grand. 20 grand for a medium to large school district tends to be around the threshold, and the discretion that a school district buyer, a school district superintendent, chief academic officer, assistant superintendent, even somebody who's overseeing multiple principals, has the threshold to spend that kind of money before having to take it out to an RFQ, RFP process, which usually takes months to flow through.
Gotcha. We always give our listeners here, in your case, listeners, in my case, viewers,
Touche.
some action item. Are you using your new computer?
I was, and then I switched back. But the blip
Like,
where you saw me briefly, is an indication that it's either a browser or, and I've tried Chrome and Firefox, so maybe a restart later and getting to these earlier. I'm accountable for that. It's just been a crazy day.
All good. You might notice that
you look great though.
Thank you for saying that. Truly, you got to come back down here. Remember, you're going to come to one of Camila's soccer games, and you will see that our our apartment is almost really ready down here, and I made a change, and I moved my desk to the other side of the big giant wall that holds up this building, among many others. And now I'm looking out the window, and we've got oops, I hope that doesn't leave a mark. Bettina and I are looking for and have found a really wonderful piece of art that we're going to put here. I'm not sure if I told you this story, but I went with my mom. I think I did. I went with my mom because she wanted a new iMac computer. Unfortunately, my dad used her MacBook Pro for many years and really did a number on that thing. And so she wanted to treat herself to a new iMac. So we go to this beautiful Apple store, in downtown DC at the old DC History Museum. And she picks out this beautiful iMac, and it was a Sunday morning, it was all about her. And she's all set. And I said, by the way, I think I want one, and the really helpful guy from Apple says, well, are you just going to get the same one as your mom? Here's the silver one. I said, no. I like that orange one. We walk over there and we're looking at this orange iMac computer. I mean, to me, I love orange, and this thing is beautiful. And we're looking, and my mom's giving us all this space. And then she walks up, and in her most beautiful Jewish mom voice, she goes, Joshua, are you sure that you want an orange computer? Are you sure you can see that color, Joshua? I said, Mom, of course I can see that. That's the one I like orange. She's like, but do you want it for a computer? And I said, yes, I do. And so it was so unpopular that basically Apple had to build this computer for me. So it took me about 2 weeks to get it, but I've now got this computer. I've got a beautiful camera, and I've moved. So I'm now facing the window. So thank you for noticing my new setup.
I can't wait to see the art.
That,
I know how much you and Bettina are into art. I can't wait to see what you choose.
Oh, you're going to love it. And of course, we had to get approval from Camila, but we got this really cool picture. I'll send you a link to it so you can also approve, because we care about what Uncle John thinks, of course.
I hope she's okay too. I saw her.
So
I saw her face plant. I didn't like seeing that. I got really, really upset about that, especially with her reaction.
I'm glad that
you filming it. That's what broke my heart. Because I only see Camila and her cheery self unless she eats too much at one point, and then I can kind of see that she's got a look on her face.
Oh, that's so funny. I wasn't sure if anybody heard that. And honestly, she is most upset about the fact that I didn't stop recording.
I hear you.
She says at the end of that video, she goes, "Why are you still recording?"
Because you were thinking, where's the closest 911? How are we going to find ICE? I know. As a parent, we're just...
No. I was thinking I want a great reaction from her. As a photographer, I wanted a great reaction. And it was a struggle yesterday. She had not been on her skateboard for a while. And this is a good kind of metaphor for all of us as entrepreneurs. She got back on that skateboard and she fell hard 2 times, and she was really upset with herself. And I said, well, you haven't been on the board for a while. And she said, but it's the same board. And I said, yeah, but it's been a while. So you got to get your legs back underneath you. And so, but there was a nasty fall, but she was okay. So I'm glad.
So many metaphors. And she sent a nice card. Such a nice card I shared with you. That just means the world. And for everybody that's out there, let me share this. There's a company called Care Solace. I may have shared it on the show, run by Chad Castrita. And I know we're talking about guarantees, but let me talk to you about a guaranteed impact that is made by a good friend and colleague, Chad. Chad runs Care Solace, which is a mental health platform for schools. He's blowing up. He's raised significant Series A and B capital. He was a dear friend and colleague, one of my best salespeople back in the day. And every sales call he went on, after the sales call, and I mean, Josh, everyone, he wrote a hand card to the superintendent that he met with about what it meant to meet with him or her, what it meant to meet with him or her team, and how they could use the software that he was selling. Took the time, dropped it at the post office, handwritten note, handwritten envelope, the whole shebang. I gotta tell you, he closed deals because of that personal touch. That's what it reminded me of when I got that nice little card from Camila. Chad, shout out, Air Solis, look him up. Great story.
That's awesome. I have to bring my mom back into this because I can just remember being, growing up, and I lived at Hitching Post Place in Rockville, and I can imagine being in my room, and supposed to be doing something, probably not doing the right thing. My mom would, call in my room, Joshua, have you written that thank you note to your Uncle Bobby who sent you that baseball from the Chicago White Sox? And of course I hadn't, but then I did. And so, I don't know about your family, but Bettina, my wife, grew up in a similar family where you basically had to write the thank you note before the gift was even given. And so we really
matters.
Thank you note,
Josh, that really matters. My parents, like yours, I can't do my mom as well as you do your mom. I'd like to try that. Maybe when my camera's working and I'm not so frustrated, but that was awesome. But my parents are big on gratitude as well. And I'm really careful with them. And it's a work in progress with my kids and but it really matters. Gratitude, graciousness, recognition, that element of language of love, I think is really, really important. And it makes a difference. And it's not easy. We get busy, we forget, it takes time. Does the mail work? But a handwritten card really does make a big difference.
Well, by the way, Camila wrote a note to John, thanking him for the tour and for we were able to stay at his house the night of the Benson Boone concert. And honestly, John, this conversation warms my heart because it really is validating something that I am really leaning into and thinking a lot more about. Not just gratitude, but this idea of what you and I are doing here and on Breaking the Grade is really unique, because I have been looking around the show space, podcast, things like that, and does not appear to be a show like ours or people like us or our community who's really coming together week in and week out, producing content that is, yes, about lead generation, but more importantly about being an honest person with your guarantee, being thankful for the time with a thank you note and gratitude, and not just about sales. It's really about the whole person. And so this conversation, while we are weaving in and out of laughing and my mom and things like that, what we're really talking about is, yes, we want leads. Yes, we want to grow our businesses, but we want to do it in an honest way. And we want to be grateful for any opportunity we get to speak to somebody about what we do.
Yeah. I mean, you and I are both shameless Howard Stern fans. And when he does his mother, it's the best. He could just do a whole show on that. Howard.
He does his dad.
Yeah. He does his dad too.
His dad.
But amen to that. I think that's, critically important in these crazy times that we're in is just interweaving and talking strategy and talking tactics and sharing experiences that we've had, but then remembering other ways of and alternative ways of thinking about guarantees, like I just weaved in with Chad, and the guarantee positive response that he used to get from the personal note that he would write. So 6 degrees of separation too, man. There's always connects in one way or another.
We also have a client. I have a client, a member of the Ed Sales Elevation Experience community who went through the experience, and I worked with one-to-one very successfully. Ashton Tate, who has a biblically based PE curriculum. that and this guy, nobody will outwork Ashton, and he has a company. He's mentioned it. I don't particularly remember the name, but he has a company that he uses. You let me know what you think about this. I would be interested to know what Chad thinks about it. That sends it will get to know your handwriting, and it will send handwritten notes on your behalf. So you sit there and you type the handwritten note in their app, and then they send it off for you. And Ashton does this for every school that he wants to work with, and then he'll send a follow-up email. Did you see the handwritten note I wrote you? So is that cheating?
No, I don't think that's cheating.
You like
I
it?
think it's I don't know if I like it. I think that it's all in. Oh hell no, I don't like that.
Okay. Tell us why.
Because I think that it has to be genuine, and I think that we have to do things without expecting anything in return.
So it's not that it's not that you don't like the fact that it is written by a machine somewhere. It's that it's the
check,
letter.
you got it.
Gotcha. Okay. It works really well for him. Ashton is just having his best sales season ever, which I'm so happy for him. And we'll have to bring him back on and talk more about his approach. But nonetheless, there are some action items that I want to bring up.
Let me be really clear. Do you get mail sometimes and get PO'd when you open it because it looks personal?
Yes.
You know, there's a whole industry built around figuring out how to get somebody to open your mail.
Totally.
I honestly believe that Chad Castrita, during his early days of selling, now remember, he's a super successful ed tech entrepreneur now, said to himself, how am I going to stand out? How am I going to express my gratitude that somebody took my call? And what can I institutionalize as to doing something different that also aligns with my personal values?
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you ask all the questions, you'll come up with your own way of doing things.
Yeah, I used to write the thank you notes as well. Yeah. And so I'm with you on it. We should have Chad on the show at some point.
Yeah, we'll get him. Tell him
what we're talking about, it all weaves in that we're talking about being genuine, being honest, being, really differentiated in your sales approach in the education space. And again, we started the show talking about guarantees, and now we're talking about gratitude. And I
Isn't that crazy?
They're intertwined very much so. So John, in the last couple minutes here, what's on the rest of your agenda for the calendar year in terms of conferences and things that you'll be up to?
Couple more entrepreneur breakthroughs coming up. Focusing on Mohit and Talitha from Solve Education and Canopy Nepal. Excited about that. We do a pretty intentional postmortem process. We do a lot of polls. We do a lot of surveys. How can we get better? And we go through a process of, this is what worked. This is what we can improve upon. So we're doing that. Teaching in Milan, entrepreneurship to high school students in late October.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully see you at IEI, the great Doug Roberts, another sponsor, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, week of November 9th. And then we roll right into Thanksgiving and the Christmas season, the holiday season. But yeah, just trying to think about ways to improve, think about ways that we can better support people who are doing this intentional work.
Yeah, it feels like we're a little bit on the downslope here, which is crazy to think. My schedule here is, I do believe I will be in Washington, give or take, until the end of October, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm still kind of and I'm really on the upswing here, I believe, of recovering on sleep and feeling better. My next stop will be to Toronto to the Canadian Ed Tech event with our friend Robert Martellacci, which I'm really excited about. I know you're going to be in Italy, and Robert was wondering how you could pass up him for Italy, but you have to discuss that with him. Then I will see you in New Mexico for IEI. Then I am off to Iceland.
Iceland. Yeah.
Yeah, over Thanksgiving for Bettina's 50th birthday. We're taking a trip. That's where she wanted to be, and I love that. And then we're back, and then probably off
50.
to Spain. Yeah.
Thought she was turning 40.
I know. But I've aged her,
Yeah, there you go.
I am not the easiest at times, but and then we've got some really cool changes coming in January 2026 to the Ed Sales Elevation Experience in terms of potentially a title change to this show to be more intentional about what I just discussed, that we are the only show, I believe, talking about lead gen for education founders. We're going to create a community called the Ed Sales Edge. You heard it first. And then we've got some other wonderful changes coming. So that's a preview of the rest of the year. So John, thanks for joining us, at least in voice.
We'll get this fixed.
That's cool. It doesn't matter.
We'll do a little troubleshooting. We'll figure it out. It's probably on my end. My apologies.
That's cool. We have dealt with much bigger challenges than not being able to see your beautiful face. Do you ever watch Parks and Rec?
Yes, all the time.
Okay. I feel like Amy Poehler when she's always, saying nice things about Rashida Jones and her beautiful face. So thanks, man, for joining. It was a wonderful event last week. You guys should be super proud, and you guys really do deserve a break. I guarantee that. You deserve a good break.
Thanks, Josh. Let's talk soon. Keep in touch. Go Birds.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Bye, everybody.